Mind over matter, the old saying, right? It means that your mind shapes your reality. Your mind shapes the three-dimensional plane and the existence that you experience in life. And that's more than just positively thinking. If it's abundance you seek, if it's love you seek, if it's money and wealth and success that you seek, you first must become that in mind. Depending on your experiences thus far, everyone comes from different circumstances, everyone comes from a different background. Some people have been exposed to these things maybe more than others naturally on preset, depending on how you have grown in life, right? Regardless of what your circumstances are, what you've experienced thus far, it truly does not matter if you know which direction you want to go. But it's also deeper than just knowing. So whatever your limiting beliefs are, you're going to have to begin to kind of chip at the old block and begin to break these things down and formulate new beliefs. But for me, what has been extremely beneficial in doing so is understanding the truth. The truth will set you free. The truth is that God lives inside of you, and God is experiencing through you. So whatever it is that you desire is God wanting to manifest and experience that through you. So that's where the strength comes from, to begin to understand and know once you know what the truth is and the power that lives inside of you, you don't have to fret about your desires coming to you. God is abundance. God is all things good. God's natural power is abundance. Everything that is created by God is created to grow and thrive and expand. And you are exactly the same thing as a human being. It does not matter what you've experienced and what you've gone through. For myself, the process maybe was more difficult than most, and I think that's what really qualifies me to be able to even speak on these kind of things, because I experienced great hardship as a young adult, and I wasn't surrounded by abundance. I wasn't surrounded by success, and I had underwent traumatic things as a young man. Now, life can be that way, and these things can happen, but as I've grown to understand the power of God and the power of my own mind and the reality that I live in here, I've come to realize that I played a part in... Come here, buddy. I've realized that I've played a part in almost creating more circumstances like that in my... Come on, bud. Come on, dude. This is Adonis. He's cool. Just because you've experienced anything that's negative doesn't mean that you have to experience all negativity in your life. And without realizing it, in a subconscious way, that's what I had begun to do. When you suffer trauma and loss and shortcomings, you almost begin to expect that. And without knowing the truth about how consciousness works, you're going to continue to experience those things if that's what you are expecting to experience. So for me, things really begun to change when I suffered a knee injury about 2 years ago. I was shelved for a while and I wasn't able to work. So I was actually afforded the time to sit with myself, right? And I began to hypothesize, and I was like, I truly desire to be successful. And it was a desire of my heart, and it still is to this day. I desire to be abundant and successful in every which way possible that God would deem me to be, right? So I began to like think like, what is it that makes somebody successful? Like, why are some people successful and others are not? And I really began to ponder this, right? And I realized that like it wasn't really specialized knowledge, although some people with specialized knowledge have become successful, but that really wasn't like the major thing, you know, because I know people who didn't go to Harvard and they're immensely wealthy and successful, right? It wasn't brute force or physical strength. You know, I know strong people that are successful. I know weak people that are successful, right? So I really began to ponder this, and that's when I got into the works of Neville Goddard. I started reading Dr. Joseph Murphy's books, and the truth smacked me in the face. And it's one thing to read a book and comprehend what it's saying, but it's another thing to experience it for yourself, right? So that's what began to happen to me. Now, for me, this whole thing is way deeper than manifesting desires, right? If the truth is known and understand, it entirely alleviates suffering from your life, right? Because you're no longer a victim of circumstance. You're no longer a victim of life. You have the ability to control your reality. And that's either the most freeing thing that you could possibly hear. It could also be the scariest, right? So the trust that comes with that and the faith that comes with that is really just based on the truth, knowing what God's true nature is, right? So everything in this realm is of God. There is nothing that is not of God.